Aegis of Dawn arrives at the Hadal Gate system. Asterisk established the setting. Magnetar's deadly beauty, fortified choke point, Dominion arrogance. Asterisk Captain Mara El-Basri and her crew observe the 14 seized civilian arcs, hostages of the Dominion. Asterisk tension rises as Dominion announces reprocessing of colonists if humanity interferes. Asterisk Mara sends humanitarian packets to prove intent and show rules of engagement. Asterisk closing beat. She challenges the Dominion Arch-Admiral Zyra to honor-bound parley using encoded binding oath. Hashtag Chapter 2, The Opening Gambit. Asterisk Zyru, in POV shift, studies humanity and Mara's reputation. He vows to break her will publicly. Asterisk he fires a humiliating near-miss shot to prove dominance. Asterisk Mara responds by deploying Rorschach flares, flipping propaganda back on him. Asterisk crew dynamics explored, Mara's restraint doctrine explained, tension with Exo Imani, who prefers force. Asterisk first cracks in Dominion order, Zyru boxed in by his own codes of honor. Asterisk end, Mara requests inspection of hostage arcs, forcing Zyru into a public dilemma. Hashtag Chapter 3, Walk the Wire. Asterisk Aegis demonstrates precise maneuvers near the Magnetar, threading eddies with Casimir wings. Asterisk the audience, crew, Dominion, hostages, sees humanity's technical mastery. Asterisk Mara explains, safe tides, as philosophy, power used with limits. Asterisk discovery, flux anchors link all arcs, if one moves, all destabilize. Asterisk Mara realizes she must shift the entire system's harmonic, not just single arcs. Asterisk seeds planted for the harmonic inversion later. Asterisk end, Dominion reinforcements sighted, clock accelerates. Stakes rise. Hashtag Chapter 1, in death, \1000 words. The Aegis of Dawn fell out of FTL with the silence of inevitability. No thunder, no ripple, just a sudden bloom of light as the ship materialized at the edge of Hadal Gate. Before her stretched a fortress the size of a small world, armored rings chained around a blue-white magnetar, its furious beams sweeping the void like lighthouse scythes. Captain Mara El-Basri leaned forward in her chair. On the holotank, the gate looked like an ancient will caught in eternal fire. Every 90 seconds the magnetar's field surged, painting the Dominion defenses in aurora bright arcs. Beautiful. Deadly. She knew a single miscalculated trajectory would stretch her ship into ribbons of plasma. Contact, Dominion broadcast, reported Ensign Riva, her young voice steady only because she was forcing it. Channel wide, all frequencies. Put it through, Mara said. The Dominion's voice was mechanical, translated for human ears. Asterisk. The Larkspur Conva remains impounded for violations of tribute doctrine. Any approach within interdiction range will be met with correction fire. Reprocessing begins at second cycle. Asterisk. 60,000 lives reduced to legal jargon. Mara's jaw tightened. She caught her reflection on the hollow panel, calm, precise, eyes ringed with fatigue. Outward control mattered. If her crew saw fear, the gate had already won. Exo, she said, turning to Commander Imani Okoye. Get our Red Cross packets into beam. Quiet, no flare. Civilians first. Aye, Captain. Imani's deeper voice carried restrained tension. But this paints us soft. Soft is survivable. Soft buys time. Mara stood, clasping her hands behind her back as the ship began silent transmission of med algorithms, ration maps, and safety codes to the chained arcs. Humanitarian aid beamed like whispers across the void. Dr. Zhou, the ship's physicist, tapped through harmonic readouts. Flux anchors are keyed to system harmonics. They're piggybacking the magnetar's rhythm to hold those arcs still. Clever parasites. Meaning? Mara asked. Meaning if one arc tries to run, they all destabilize. Brilliant deterrence, Captain. Zhou's smile was wry, the kind of gallows humor only scientists wore. Mara didn't answer. She studied the arcs, civilian hulks chained like animals to a feeding post. She saw children's shadows pressed to viewport glass, wide eyes catching aurora light. Her throat tightened. Not again, not like her brother, lost on Larkspur Station when Dominion privateers had corrected a clinic for refusing taxes. That memory burned every order she gave now. Dominion flagship hailing, Riva said, breaking her reverie. High encryption, honor code seal attached. Arch-Admiral, Mara murmured. She had read his file. Zyru of the Third Spiral, strategist, zealot, breaker of rebellions. He commanded fear like a weapon. His image shimmered into being, a tall, prismatic form with fractal skin that shifted hues as he breathed. Eyes like cut obsidian regarded her without blinking. You are far from your lanes, human, Cyrus said, voice deep as bedrock. One ship at my gate. One warship, though smaller than the stories. Mara smiled thinly. Stories exaggerate. Equations don't. We've come to audit your treatment of our civilians. Asterisk audit, asterisk. His chuckle was a vibration, metallic and cruel. This fortress is not subject to your audits, they trespassed. They are mine. Imani muttered under breath. Permission to blast that smile off. Denied, Mara said softly, eyes never leaving Zyru's. Arch-Admiral, humanity has a code as well. We don't leave our people to die in cages. Release them, and we leave your gate untouched. Zyra leaned forward. You threaten me with a single cruiser? I don't threaten, Mara replied. I show my limits. You can measure them. Jo flicked her a glance. She was laying doctrine bare. Dangerous, but necessary. Zyra's skin flared orange, Dominion sign of irritation. Very well. I shall prove your impotence. Watch closely. One of the arcs shuddered. Riva gasped. He's venting Atmo. Belay that, Mara said quickly. Her voice cut steel. Pause feed. Look closer. The arcs hull his steam, but not from atmosphere loss. Only coolant bleeds, a warning shot staged for broadcast. Zyra was baiting her, playing with illusions. Mara exhaled slowly. Arch-Admiral, I request parley under binding oath. The bridge fell silent. Even Imani turned sharply. A dual formality? Zyra asked, mocking. Yes, Mara said, crisp. We codify our conduct. No fire on civilians. Demonstrations permitted. Witness feeds open. He tilted his head. Honor trapped him. If he refused, the satraps watching across the Dominion would call him oath-breaker. If he accepted, he granted her space to maneuver. You would bind me with my own codes? His laugh was like grinding stone. You are bold, little human. I am alive, Mara said simply. Boldness is required. Long pause. Then, so be it. Parley accepted. The channel snapped closed. For a moment, only the hum of the magnetar filled the bridge, vibrating through hull and bone. Riva whispered, Did we just survive the opening round? Mara sat back down, eyes on the chained arcs. No, she said softly. We just started the game. Arch-Admiral Zyro of the Third Spiral stood in the observation sphere of his flagship, Ruthless Geometry. The chamber floated at the vessel's prow, shielded by translucent armor that bent starlight into prismatic rainbows across his fractal skin. Outside, the magnetar pulsed with violent grace, and the human warship drifted dangerously close to its field. They test themselves against the star, Cyrus said, voice low and resonant. Humans mistake stubbornness for strength. A junior officer bowed his head. Arch-Admiral, the satraps are watching. They demand a demonstration of superiority before the next cycle ends. Zyru's crystalline eyes glinted. They will have it. He turned from the view and studied the human dossiers arrayed in his tactical hollow. The woman at the center of it, Captain Mara El-Basri, looked nothing like the warlords he had crushed in past rebellions. No ceremonial armor, no defiant blood oaths. Only calm eyes and measured words. That, he decided, was the most dangerous kind of enemy, one who hid their fury behind discipline. Amplified broadcast, he ordered. It is time they remember why Hadal Gate is feared. On the bridge of the Aegis of Dawn, alarms spiked. Energy surged from the flagship. Ensign Riva reported, her tone tight. Beam capacitors charging, bearing on us. Commander Imani spun. Captain, they're about to fire. Mara's voice was calm. Hold. The blast struck a fraction later, a searing lance of light that carved past the Aegis with precision. Shields flared, hull plating rattled. The shot missed, deliberately. Status? Mara asked. Outer armor scorched, Joe replied. No breach. It was meant to humiliate, not destroy. Imani slammed a fist against the console. They're taunting us. We should return fire and make them regret it. No. Mara's tone cut sharp. That's what they want. One shot from us, and the feeds will brand humanity aggressors. Every neutral system will side with them. We win nothing that way. She leaned back, eyes narrowing at the tactical board. Deploy Rorschach flares. The crew hesitated only a second before moving. Pods launched silently from the Aegis, each projecting a distorted reflection of the ship's telemetry. On Dominion sensors, it looked as though Zyra's own drones had fired and struck. Within moments, broadcast feeds replayed the exchange, Dominion weapons firing into their own space, their honor compromised by their attempt at theater. Sho allowed himself a rare smile. That should muddy their narrative. Not enough, Mara said softly. But it forces them to pause. On the ruthless geometry, Zyru's orange fractals flared into sharp crimson. They twist the record, one of his aides cried. The feeds show us firing upon our own. Zyru's silence was heavier than anger. He turned slowly, his gaze falling on the aide until the officer bowed in shame. They are clever, Zyra murmured. Clever is not the same as victorious. He opened a private channel to Mara. Her image appeared, sharp and steady against the dim glow of her bridge. You think false images will save you? He said. No, Mara replied. Only truth saves. And the truth is this, you staged a strike to humiliate, not destroy. I revealed it for what it was. The galaxy will see restraint from me, and posturing from you. Choose carefully, Admiral. Every eye is watching. For the first time, Zyru's expression shifted. Not anger, not fear, calculation. He ended the feed without reply. The bridge of the Aegis exhaled in unison. Imani shook her head. You're walking a knife's edge, Captain. A single misstep, and he cuts us in two. Then don't misstep, Mara said. She turned to Joe. What about the arcs? Anchors still locked, Joe answered. Flux harmonics tied deep to the gate's core. Untangling it will take time we don't have. Mara pressed her palms against the railing, studying the hollow of the arcs. Hulking civilian transports bound in place like prey animals. Families, children, elders, all waiting to see whether humanity truly protected its own. Her brother's face flashed unbidden in her mind, his last message before the privateers cut the feed. Don't let them break us, Mara. She straightened. Request inspection. Imani blinked. Inspection? Of what? Of the Ark's life support systems. We frame it as humanitarian necessity under parley terms. They'll never allow it, Imani said. They can't refuse publicly, Mara countered. Not after accepting the binding oath. To deny a humanitarian audit would mark them oath breakers before their own satraps. Joe chuckled softly. You really are weaponizing their own laws. That's the only weapon that matters right now, Mara said. Riva transmitted the request. The bridge fell into taut silence while the Dominion considered. At last, the flagship replied. Zyra's voice filled the comms, rich with restrained fury. Denied. No inspection will be granted. The arcs remain under Dominion authority. A sharp intake of breath rippled across the crew. Captain, Riva whispered. That's a violation of the oath. Not yet, Mara said quietly. But it sets precedent. And that's exactly what I needed. Imani frowned. You planned for him to refuse. Of course, Mara answered. Now we hold his honor against him when it matters most. Hours passed in tense maneuvers. The Aegis drifted closer to the gate, threading carefully through magnetar eddies, every move observed by Dominion fleets and broadcast to half the galaxy. Each adjustment was another declaration: humanity could survive here, could hold its ground without flinching. Joe murmured updates of harmonics, Riva tracked civilian vitals from intercepted signals, and Imani prowled the deck like a caged predator, muttering about wasted firepower. Finally, Mara called her officers into the strategy chamber. "We've shown them we can endure," she said. "Next, we show them what restraint looks like in motion. Joe, I want a demonstration, a controlled mass-tide push on debris. Make it visible, make it precise. Riva, ensure it's broadcast on open feeds. Imani, keep countermeasures primed in case they respond." Joe raised an eyebrow. "And the point?" "The point," Mara said, "is to prove we can wield the storm and choose not to unleash it fully. That's what will trap him." Imani shook her head. "You're gambling with all of us." "No," Mara replied. "I'm calculating. The gamble is his." The order went out. Mass-tide projectors hummed, and distant debris began to drift, nudged into a precise spiral that skirted danger but caused no harm. The galaxy watched as humanity demonstrated terrifying control, power measured, never reckless. Zyru remained silent, but Mara could feel his fury through the empty channel. The gambit had begun. And every move from here on would decide whether 60,000 civilians lived, or whether humanity's name would be etched in fire across the stars. The Aegis of Dawn slid closer to the gate like a blade testing the skin of its sheath. The magnetar's flares painted her hull in fleeting sheets of ghostlight, every pulse a reminder that one wrong calculation would unravel ship and crew into plasma filaments. On the bridge, every console hummed with constant recalculations. Field projectors flexed, Casimir wings extended like translucent sails, and the ship rode the magnetar's tides on threads of probability. "Trajectory stable within 6 decimals," Dr. Joe reported, hands flicking across the hollow interface. "Casimir lift on vector. Margin of error, slim enough to make my teeth ache." "Keep it steady," Captain Mara El-Basri replied. She leaned forward, eyes on the arcs still chained to the gate. "Every second we survive here proves we belong." The crew understood. Dominion propaganda painted humans as reckless, fragile opportunists, too new to the galactic stage to endure real tests. Simply surviving the magnetar's fury without burning to ash was its own kind of declaration. Commander Imani's voice cut through. "Dominion fleet watching our every move. We drift wrong, they'll call us incompetent. We drift right, they'll call us lucky." Mara's lips twitched into the faintest smile. "Then we drift flawlessly." A ripple of tense amusement passed across the bridge. The comms crackled. "Broadcast incoming from the Dominion flagship," Ensign Riva said. On screen, Archadmiral Zyru's image appeared again, obsidian eyes gleaming. His fractal skin glowed faint orange, Dominion color of measured disdain. "You risk much to dance so close to the star," Zyru intoned. "The gate has claimed thousands who thought themselves cleverer than physics." Mara met his gaze evenly. "Physics claims only the arrogant. We respect the numbers. You posture. One cruiser cannot balance against a fortress. Yet here you are, showing tricks for my amusement." "This isn't amusement," Mara replied. Her voice stayed calm, her cadence deliberate. "It's proof. You see precision. You see restraint. You see us hold to limits even when chaos tempts us to push harder." Zyru's expression didn't shift, but a flicker of color, violet, rippled across his fractals. "Interest. You claim discipline is strength?" he asked. "I claim it's survival," Mara answered. The feed snapped off. Joe let out a breath. "If looks could kill, Captain, we'd be star debris." "Not yet," Mara said. She turned back to the tactical board. "Let's give them something else to measure." The Aegis adjusted course, tilting its Casimir wings to thread a narrow eddy between the magnetar's outbursts. To outside eyes, it looked like artistry, a vessel weaving between blades of fire. To the crew, it was sweat and silence, each adjustment risking overcorrection. Contact with scrap hull ahead, Riva reported. Old Dominion drone. Anchor residues still clinging. Perfect, Mara said. Dr. Zhou, prepare micro-inversion. Let's show them what safe tides look like. Zhou's hands blurred across controls. The mass tide projectors engaged with a low hum, bending local gravity just enough to tug the derelict. On the display, the dead drone twisted, spiraling into a controlled drift toward harmless orbit. Broadcast feeds captured the entire maneuver. Mara knew Zyra was watching. Captain, Imani murmured, you're teaching them how we fight. No, Mara corrected. I'm teaching them how we choose not to. The demonstration ended cleanly. The scrap drifted without damage, magnetar storms untriggered. On the holotank, Mara saw the Dominion fleet still holding position, their posture unchanged but their silence telling. Transmission from the ARCs, Riva said suddenly. Civilian channel, encrypted human standard. Put it through, Mara ordered. A shaky face appeared, a middle-aged woman, her features pale under emergency lighting. This is Dr. Kellen of ARC 7. Are you really here? Or is this another Dominion trick? Mara straightened, voice firm yet warm. Doctor, this is Captain Mara El-Basri, Aegis of Dawn. We're here. And we're not leaving without you. The woman's eyes welled. Behind her, shadows of frightened colonists shifted. They told us Earth had abandoned us. Not today, Mara said. The channel cut abruptly, Dominion jamming. But the message had carried. Hope was seed enough. Later, in strategy room, hollow maps displayed the ARC's anchor systems. Lines of force bound each vessel to the gate like knots in a net. Zhou explained, voice clipped. Flux anchors keyed to the magnetar's harmonic base. Each arc is linked, pull one, the whole chain destabilizes. They built it to prevent rescue. Then we shift the background, Mara said. Imani frowned. The system's harmonic? Captain, that's risky, Zhou finished grimly. You'd be pushing the entire field toward instability. One wrong nudge, and the star sings Alphane storms that fry everything within reach. Mara met their eyes in turn. If we move carefully, we make a low storm. Strong enough to trick the anchors, weak enough to spare the arcs. Walk the wire, Imani muttered. Between physics and annihilation. Exactly. For a moment, silence reigned. Then Zhou nodded slowly. It's possible. Insane. But possible. Then it's our path, Mara said. Prepare simulations. Quietly. The Dominion must not know our real target. An hour later, alarms blared. Multiple FTL signatures, Riva shouted. Dominion reinforcements inbound, Palinode-class frigates. ETA, 20 minutes. The bridge chilled. Reinforcements meant time was collapsing. Imani's hand clenched into a fist. Captain, we should strike before they box us in. A clean kinetic barrage at their hangars. No, Mara said. Her tone cut like ice. One shot, and they'll spin us as butchers. This is bigger than us. We're proving doctrine, not starting genocide. Doctrine won't shield us when their beams slice our hull, Imani snapped. Discipline will, Mara answered. I will not have history say we drew blood first. Prepare countermeasures, but hold fire. Her voice carried finality. Even Imani, jaw tight, obeyed. On the viewscreen, the new Dominion ships bloomed into existence, sleek blades bristling with weapon pods. They fanned out in precise formation, flanking Zyra's flagship like predators circling prey. The Aegis held position, wings gleaming in the magnetar's glow. Mara watched the tactical display, heartbeats slow, steady. Every move, every word mattered now. The low storm had to work. And she knew, before the next cycle passed, they would either free 60,000 lives or burn with them. She rose from her chair, addressing her crew. This is the line. They believe fear makes law. We'll show them law combined power. We'll walk the wire, and we'll do it together. Eyes met hers, tired, afraid, but steady. Riva's young hands shook slightly, but her voice didn't falter. Ready, Captain? Mara gave a single nod. Then let's prepare the storm. Outside, the magnetar flared again, light flooding the void. The Dominion closed in. The Aegis held steady, poised on the razor's edge between survival and annihilation. The wire was drawn, and humanity was ready to walk it. The magnetar pulsed again, light pouring through the bridge canopy in a burst that made shadows stretch like blades across the consoles. Every officer of the Aegis of Dawn looked up for a heartbeat, reminded that they were not only under the Dominion's guns but also beneath a star that could tear spacetime itself apart. Casimir wings holding, Dr. Zhou reported, voice clipped. But the stress curves are climbing. She doesn't like to be this close. She'll endure, Captain Mara El-Basri said. Her gaze was fixed on the holotank where Dominion frigates now fanned into a crescent, their formation tightening around the gate. Keep the wings singing, Doctor. If they start to howl, I want to know first. A faint chuckle escaped Zhou. Wings, storms, songs. Poetic. But make no mistake, Captain, if the mast slips, the only music we'll hear is our own hull shattering. Mara gave a slow nod. Then let's stay in key. Commander Imani paced at the tactical rail, restless. Her dark eyes kept flicking from enemy icons to the arcs still shackled in place. They're drawing the net, she said. Reinforcements aren't here to watch. They're here to finish us. They won't rush, Mara replied. They want the galaxy to see us break ourselves first. They'll give us rope, waiting for the stumble. Imani turned sharply. And what if we don't stumble? Then we climb it, Mara said. That earned a few dry smiles from the bridge crew, but the tension never eased. Captain, Ensign Riva said suddenly. The civilians. I'm picking up tideband distress signals from Arc 4. Mostly scrambled, but... Her throat caught. Children's voices. The bridge went silent. Mara's jaw clenched, but her tone remained steady. Patch one through. A tiny voice, distorted by static. Is Earth real? They said no one is coming. The sound twisted something deep inside Mara's chest. For a moment she saw her brother's face, pale in the glow of a dying station, whispering not to let them break her. Riva's hands trembled. Captain, what do we say back? Mara didn't hesitate. You tell them Earth is real. Tell them we are real. And tell them they'll see it for themselves when we leave this gate together. Riva blinked rapidly, nodding, forcing her voice into steadiness as she relayed the captain's words. The line cut moments later under Dominion jamming, but the message had been delivered. In the strategy chamber, Holos danced across the table, arcs, anchors, flux lines weaving through the gate like threads in a cruel loom. Zhou highlighted the system with a sweep of his hand. Flux anchors are keyed into the magnetar's base harmonic, he explained. Think of it as a choir singing in perfect pitch. Each arc is forced to hum along with that pitch. Tug one out of key, and the whole choir collapses into noise. They'll all destabilize. Imani frowned. Meaning if we try to move a single arc, they all die, Zhou finished. The words dropped like stones into still water. Mara stood silent for a moment, eyes tracing the map. Then she spoke. Then we don't move the arcs. We move the choir. Zhou's brows furrowed. You want to shift the system's pitch? Change the harmonic background itself? Exactly, Mara said. If we nudge the magnetar's rhythm, even slightly, the anchors will interpret the arcs as stable. They'll release. That's not a nudge, Zhou said, his voice tight. That's trying to conduct a star. One fraction too strong and will trigger Alphane storms. Those storms don't stop at the anchors. They'll ride the field lines and tear us apart. Imani crossed her arms. This is suicide. No, Mara said firmly. It's precision. We don't unleash a storm. We create a low storm, a tide strong enough to fool the locks, but not enough to break the system. Zhou stared at her, then exhaled with a bitter laugh. Captain, that's like balancing on the edge of a knife while the knife is spinning. Then let's not slip, Mara answered. The decision was made. Simulations began in silence, each projection showing catastrophe if they misjudged by even fractions of a percent. Still, Mara pressed them forward. On the bridge, the Dominion ships prowled in formation. They didn't attack, they didn't need to. Their presence alone was a tightening vice. The comms crackled. Incoming broadcast from the flagship, Riva said. Mara straightened. Put it through. Zyra's image filled the bridge, obsidian eyes unblinking. His fractal skin pulsed a slow violet. You creep closer to destruction, human, he said. Every moment you remain here is another moment my gunners are denied their rightful kill. I wonder, are you brave or simply foolish? Mara met his gaze with calm steel. Neither. I'm disciplined. Discipline doesn't save the weak, Zyra replied. Discipline, Mara said, saves everyone. Even from themselves. The Admiral's face remained impassive, but the faint ripple of orange across his skin betrayed irritation. The feed cut. Imani muttered. You keep taunting him like that and he'll fire just to prove you wrong. Good, Mara said. Then he'll fire on a demonstration we declared under parley, and the galaxy will know he broke his own oath. Either way, we win. The Aegis shifted course again, dipping into a narrow corridor of relative calm between magnetic surges. Joe's hands danced over controls, aligning the Casimir wings with mathematical precision. Trajectory locked, he said, sweat beading on his temple. But I hope you like living on decimals, Captain. That's all that's holding us. Mara's voice was quiet but sure. Decimals will do. Hours later, when the crew gathered again in the chamber, Joe displayed the final projections. The low storm is possible, he admitted reluctantly. But the margin of safety is thinner than starlight. That's all the margin we've ever had, Mara said. She looked at her crew, Imani's grim determination, Riva's youthful resolve, Joe's reluctant trust. Prepare the projectors. When the moment comes, we walk the wire. No one argued. Beyond the hull, the Dominion reinforcements settled into formation, the magnetar flared like a heartbeat, and 60,000 hostages waited in silence. The razor's edge had been drawn. The Aegis of Dawn would cross it, or be cut to pieces.